It's 2 a.m. Every other bird for miles has been silent for hours, and somewhere outside a bedroom window, one bird is still singing, not a few soft notes, an entire, uninterrupted performance, one song flowing into the next, for hours without stopping. People lie awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to it cycle through what sounds like 10, sometimes 15, completely different birds. A cardinal's whistle, a car alarm, another bird's alarm call, all coming from one single bird. For homeowners hearing this for the first time, the question is almost always the same. Why would any animal do this? Every instinct in the natural world says nighttime means danger. Predators hunt in darkness. Staying quiet, staying hidden, staying safe, that's supposed to be the rule almost every species follows. And yet, night after night, this one bird breaks that rule completely, loudly, publicly, for hours at a time. Today we're going inside the strange, surprisingly desperate reason one of America's most common backyard birds refuses to stop singing after the entire rest of the world has gone quiet. Meet the Northern Mockingbird, a slim, gray-brown bird, easily overlooked at first glance, until it opens its beak. According to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the Northern Mockingbird is the only North American bird that routinely sings through the entire night. Not occasionally, not by accident, routinely. Its scientific name, Mimus polyglottos, translates directly to many-tongued mimic, and it earns that name completely. A single male can learn and perform well over 100 distinct songs across his lifetime, borrowed directly from other birds, insects, frogs, and increasingly, the human-made world around him. Car alarms, sirens, rusty hinges, cell phone ringtones. During the day, this constant, layered performance is easy to enjoy, even charming. It's the sudden shift into nighttime that catches people off guard. Most songbirds go completely silent once the sun sets. The Northern Mockingbird, particularly certain individuals, simply doesn't stop. For a long time, this behavior seemed almost random. Some mockingbirds sang all night. Others, in the very same neighborhood, never did. But researchers who studied the behavior closely began noticing a consistent pattern. It wasn't random at all. According to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, most nocturnal singers are specifically unmated males. And these same individuals sing more than paired males during the daytime too. Ornithologists studying this behavior in more detail found the difference wasn't subtle. Research conducted by ornithologists at Florida State University found that unmated males sang up to 5 times more during nighttime hours compared to males who already had an established mate. 5 times more. Not a slight increase. A dramatically different behavior, tied directly to one specific circumstance, whether that individual bird was alone. Once researchers understood this connection, the previously confusing pattern suddenly made sense. The mockingbirds singing at 2 a.m. weren't malfunctioning or confused or simply louder than average. They were bachelors. And they were, in the most literal biological sense, still looking. This still leaves an obvious question. If a male needs to attract a mate, why choose the middle of the night, when almost every potential audience is asleep? The leading explanation researchers point to involves something surprisingly strategic: competition. During the day, the air is filled with the songs of dozens of other bird species, simultaneously, all competing for the same acoustic space. Multiple mockingbirds, other songbirds, general daytime noise, all overlapping, all competing for attention. At night, nearly all of that competition disappears. The air goes quiet. Sound also happens to travel further and more clearly through cool, still, nighttime air compared to the warmer, more turbulent air of daytime. For an unmated male, this creates a rare opportunity. Researchers studying this behavior note that female mockingbirds actively searching for a mate travel significant distances at night, specifically during early breeding season, and a male singing continuously without competition, without interference, becomes dramatically easier to locate across that distance. It isn't inefficient behavior at all. It's closer to the opposite. Singing when the entire acoustic landscape is empty means a lone male's voice can carry farther, stand out more clearly, and reach potential mates that daytime competition would have otherwise drowned out entirely. There's a second factor at play here, one that has nothing to do with instinct at all. Researchers studying nighttime bird behavior have found that artificial light plays a significant role in extending how long and how often this singing continues. Streetlights and outdoor residential lighting can disrupt a bird's natural circadian rhythm, essentially tricking its internal biological clock into behaving as though daylight hasn't actually ended. This is why unmated male mockingbirds are so consistently found singing directly beneath streetlights or in well-lit residential areas, rather than in genuinely dark spaces. The artificial light doesn't create the instinct to sing, but it appears to extend it, encouraging a bird already inclined toward nighttime performance to continue for even longer than it naturally would have. Researchers have also documented increased nighttime singing, specifically during full moons, when natural ambient light is already at its highest, suggesting the behavior is directly tied to how much visible light is available, whether that light comes from the moon or from a nearby porch fixture. In a strange way, modern suburban development, streetlights, illuminated yards, glowing windows, may be accidentally amplifying a behavior that already existed naturally, giving unmated males even more encouragement to keep singing long after they would have in a fully dark, undeveloped landscape. If this explanation is finally answering a question that's kept you up at night, literally do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps stories like this reach more people. Here's the part of this story that homeowners eventually discover for themselves, usually with considerable relief. This behavior doesn't last forever. According to birdwatchers and wildlife experts who track this pattern closely, once a male mockingbird successfully attracts a mate, the nighttime singing typically stops almost entirely. The exhausting, hours-long solo performances end. The reasoning makes complete sense once you understand what the singing was actually for. The advertisement has served its purpose. There's no longer a reason to keep broadcasting availability across the neighborhood at 2 a.m. when the very thing that behavior was designed to attract has already arrived. Once paired, the male typically shifts his energy elsewhere entirely toward defending territory and eventually toward helping raise the next generation of mockingbirds, which means, ironically, the loudest, most persistent nighttime singer in the entire neighborhood is very often the loneliest bird in it. Every single song, repeated relentlessly through the darkest hours, isn't stubbornness or malfunction. It's one very determined bachelor doing everything his biology gives him the tools to do, refusing to go quiet until somebody finally answers. So what does an exhausted, sleep-deprived neighborhood full of car alarms and cardinal whistles at 2 a.m. actually reveal? At its core, this is a story about persistence under genuinely difficult odds. A single unmated male, competing against every other bachelor mockingbird in the area, using the one advantage available to him, an enormous, constantly expanding repertoire of songs deployed at exactly the moment when he can be heard most clearly. It's not a flaw in the system. It's the system working exactly as evolution designed it, even when that design happens to collide directly with a human being trying to sleep with their window open. The mockingbird outside your window at midnight isn't malfunctioning, confused, or simply louder than it should be. It's doing precisely what its entire species has done for generations, using the quietest, clearest hours of the night to make absolutely certain it isn't overlooked. So the next time you're lying awake at 2 a.m., listening to one bird cycle endlessly through what sounds like an entire flock's worth of songs, you're not just hearing noise. You're hearing a single, unmated bird, using every tool evolution ever gave it in the middle of the only quiet hours it has left to be heard. Not confused, not broken, just determined, in a way that's honestly a little hard not to respect, even at 2 a.m. If this story changed the way you'll listen the next time you hear it, subscribe to Birdhearts so you never miss the next hidden mystery in the bird world, and tell me in the comments, have you ever lost sleep to a mockingbird outside your window? I'll see you in the next one.